Okay, let's roll right into our post-race press conference for tonight's 53rd annual Coca-Cola 600 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And our third place finisher, Kyle Busch, he drove the number 18 M&M's red, white, and blue Toyota. And Kyle certainly had a up-front car all night, 600 miles. Just talk about how things went for you from your perspective.
Yeah, I felt like we were really good. You know, certain small adjustments can mean so much in this game these days. But, you know, the M&M's guys, Dave Rogers and everybody did an awesome job giving me a really good race car. Just, excuse me, just didn't quite have enough there at the end. You know, we got a little bit behind on one of the pit stops during the night. And then there when we took 2 tires, we just got a little bit behind there too with our adjustment and tightening up the car too much for the 2 tires. And we fell back and just got ourselves too separated from the front guys. But that last pit stop, the guys were on it, man. They put out a really good stop, got us all the way up to 4th, and then I passed Biffle for 3rd. So overall, strong night, and continues our run of good, strong finishes. But, you know, to solidify yourself in a chase, it's easier to get wins. We'd certainly love that. And but we'll take this. It's a learning day, and good car for notes that we can transfer into the fall here.
Thank you, Kyle. We'll take questions now for Kyle Busch. Any questions downstairs for Kyle Busch? Let's go with David Newton and then to Stan.
Kyle, David Newton, ESPN.com. You know what it's like when you go to another organization and you get that first win, just how much you really want to do that for the new team owner. What do you think this means to Casey? Because expectations were pretty high on him moving there.
I'm sure it means a lot because anytime you go to a new organization, the pressure's always on that you need to perform and you need to win. So, you know, it's awesome that it came in this race. I mean, the Coke 600 is such a cool race. And, you know, that Rick's won this race plenty of times. He's got plenty of rings. He doesn't need any more. But, you know, it's cool that Casey was able to do a nice job for him here in Charlotte, obviously. I wish Denny or I could have gotten the win, but if there's anybody else that beat us, Casey deserves it. So, you know, the pressure's off him. He's won at Hendrick Motorsports. Now he might be a little bit tougher to get out there and keep rattling off some good finishes.
Go to Stan, and then we'll hear from Denny as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kyle, this is Stan Creekmore with RPMtonight.com. If you look at the full 400 laps, was your car much better and better prepared for the time during the day and the sunlight than it was for later in the evening, or were you pretty consistent all the way through?
I felt like we were pretty consistent all the way through, but if I had to better judge it or say if we were better day or night, I'd say day. You know, our car was pretty fast and did have enough grip in it there during the sunshine that we were coming up through there pretty well. First, I think 3 runs of the race, we kept picking it off on the racetrack and on pit road. We got all the way up to 4th with no help after starting 21st. So pretty good car and pit stops during the day. So that was really good effort for us and getting ourselves up there and having ourselves in contention early enough in the race that we just kind of kept trying to keep up with the racetrack on what changes that needed to be made there.
All right, we'll hear from Denny Hamlin now, and then we'll also open it back up for questions. Go to the press box. But Denny drove the number 11 FedEx Ground Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. The 2 teammates finished 2nd, 3rd here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The 2nd place finish tonight for Denny, his best showing in his career at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Denny had an outstanding showing out there this evening, continuing to move up in the point standings. Talk about your run out there this evening.
Well, we had a solid car. You know, during the day when Kyle was leading, our car wasn't as good. We were just hung around 8th to 10th and fought a really tight condition. I don't know how many spring rubbers and whatnot we've adjusted on the car during the race, but it was a ton. And just as the track cooled off, it freed up for us. The car got better and ultimately gave us a shot to win. But, you know, when we didn't take tires and we stayed out right there, in case he got around us with tires, I knew I had to stay close to him and then try to short pit to minimize the distance for the last run. But ultimately, you know, we were going to short pit them, but they short pit us, and we didn't gain the ground. So the first 10 laps of the last run, we got to them, but just you know, we wore our front tires out trying to get around them. But proud day for our FedEx team. Everything was executed great today between the pit calls, getting on and off pit road and the pit crew themselves, we had a very, very solid day.
Go to questions now up in the, we'll get Stan, and then we'll go to Nate Ryan upstairs.
Denny, Stan Creekmore again with RPMtonight.com. You just made a statement that infers that the driving style between you and your teammate are significantly different because you talked about how much change you had to make for your team. How close are you guys when you start a race into how you drive, into how your teams are, how your different your separate cars are set up?
It really depends on the racetrack. On the racetracks I'm really bad at, where Kyle's good, Dover and these places like Charlotte, I'll rely on his data quite a bit. But I have a different style than what he does, and he makes what he does work, and I make what I do work, and we adjust our cars around that style. So, in essence, our cars are close. I mean, we could get in each other's cars and be competitive, but each driver grows up racing a certain way and driving a certain way, and it's hard to break those habits.
Let's go to the press box questions for either Denny or Kyle, please.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. For both of you guys can both address this. This was the fastest Coca-Cola 600 in 51 runnings of the race. It was like 3 hours and 51 minutes. Does it feel, and when you're running 600 miles like that, does it feel any faster from inside the car when that happens? And it's also obviously fewer number of cautions. This was a remarkably clean race for the second straight week here. Any reason why that seems to be occurring here?
Everybody's trying to make last call.
Can I get any more insight than
Kyle.
that? We're all on deadline. It would really help us.
I mean, that's pretty good, but is there any more to that?
We still got time.
I just think it's due to you got the best drivers in the world out there each and every weekend, and these guys know, we all feel like we know what we're doing, and we don't have to run over each other anymore to pass or what have you. So, I think that's why it's a good clean race. Typically, these cars have to be a little bit tighter, so it's not as easy to just go into the corner and back one in like it used to be with the old car and aerodynamics and stuff like that. So, it's just it's a good clean race. I mean, you got 43 of the best guys out there doing it every single weekend, and I think that's just a matter of it. But also, it's nice to get out of here early, I guess. Like Denny said, maybe there's butter open.
Nuts and height. No, I just think that everyone's so used to these cars now. I think at the beginning these cars were a tremendous handful to drive, and obviously we saw some wrecks because of it, especially on restarts. But I mean, bottom line, I think that everyone's just so concerned with points nowadays. If you wreck and you finish in the 30s, you're going to take 10 races to get that back. I think everyone's just a little bit more patient on restarts, as crazy as that sounds. It's just not as wild on restarts as it used to be, a couple years ago. So everyone's just minding their P's and Q's, trying to get the best finish out of their day, and knowing that the one thing you can't overcome in a race is a crash.